Good morning everyone, welcome back to my William Morris slow stitch panel project. I've been a very busy girl. I've been stitching and stitching and stitching, and what I've done so far is pretty much got all of the background tree and lace components stitched down. I've couched in some more of the green on the edge of the lace branch, and I just need to run a little bit across here, which I'm yet to do. And I've stitched down my little bird, but I haven't done any of the decorative stitching on him with the wool. Now I'm thinking I'm going to next get the bird that's sitting here, the peacock. I'm going to get him into position, so cut out, put into the right spot, pinned him down, and then I'll stitch him down. Then I can come back through with my wool and do all of the embroidery I plan to do, all the feathers and anything else that sort of pops into my mind. So in this episode, we're going to focus on getting this guy done. So I'll just zoom in for a moment, just so you can sort of see some more of the detail. So little bird's done, just with overcast stitch and a sewing machine cotton, as I did everywhere else. And I'm using like a little greeny taupey sort of colour to stitch the bird. And then I just use cream cotton to catch the lace. And as you can see, I've also put this green edge everywhere just to sort of help define that that is a branch. And I just need a little bit to come through here. Other than that, the background is pretty much done. So I'm now sort of at this next bird. Now, if you recall, I'm going to be doing a peacock in this position. So it should be pretty straightforward. So we'll choose the fabrics, we'll get him into position, pin him down, and then my homework. There's Bandit and Pepper. Why do they have to do that the moment I turn the camera on? They're just going round and round a bush in the garden at my window here. Loony ticks. Okay, so let's get the templates for the pieces sorted, I think. So what I want to do is, just using my pen here, go through and cut out the elements needed. So I might do this first. It's pretty simple. Just tracing around all of the bits. And to look, it doesn't have to be exact, because by the time you trace and then cut again, you're potentially changing the shape of things anyway. So don't lose sleep over it. Well, I don't. You've got a bit of wriggle room with slow stitch. That's the beauty of it. Now I'm just going to extend that piece past where it looks like it finishes, so that can tuck in under that big wing. I'll just move that over a little bit, and I'll do the same with that feather. Okay, so now I'm gonna work on these. And that's going to sit underneath. So I might number that one. 1. Oops, let's get that shape a little better. 2. 3. So it's pretty simple. It'll tuck under a wing as well. 4. This one will tuck under, under the wing. 5, and then we've got this one coming through there. So there's our tail feathers ready to go. Now we might do that big feather there, the wing. Might just shape that a little bit better. Okay, now let's get the body. Oops. It tucks in under there and it comes under that wing. I haven't left enough room for myself to draw that, so when we cut it out I just know that I've got to go through there, so that's all right. All right, so now we're down to the branches. I believe we have all the bird, so let's just get a few of these leaves because the style does match what we've already done, so that is good. So we'll just draw those. Whether they go in that position, we'll see. And they might bump into something that's in the way. So that's pretty good. All right, pretty simple. When you break it down to the actual pattern pieces, I hope that was all on camera for you guys. When you break it down, it's not too hard. So let's cut the tail feathers out. This little piece at the top. And of course then the body. My crooked bodgy lines. I'll just go around that, but I know I need to straighten it there. So it's Saturday morning and I'm filming ahead, so I think this is episode 7 I'm filming, and you guys are probably in the process, when I'm filming this, you're probably in the process of watching probably episode 3. It's all very confusing, but it's the only way I can do it. I've got to grab whatever time I have and jump in my craft room, and then I just sit for half a day or an hour, or sometimes I get the whole day, which is just like heaven, and I can film for the whole day. I pretty much just leave the camera running and I just one after the other episodes, and it's great. Then I spend the evening just editing them and getting them into position in our calendar so it all keeps flowing for you guys. Okay, so there's the body. I'll leave them for a moment because they're sort of at the end once we get this bird in position. So I'm thinking there's probably one more episode. Once I get the peacock stitched down, so this will be feather number 6. Once I get him stitched down and then do some embellishing in the next episode, I think that will be it completed. I'm not going to put a border on it. I'm sort of thinking about this piece, and I have a feeling one day it may be the center of a quilt. I think I mentioned a few times in the video that I dearly love a quilt made out of these fabrics. So I'm thinking I could make a quilt around it and it's the feature in the center. Or I create another panel in the future that can be attached to it. I don't know. So at this stage I'm going to just leave the edge unstitched. I'm not going to put a backing on it. I'm just going to keep it as a decorative piece that could go into something. Or I might even just frame it and put it on my wall. I don't know. Who knows? thoroughly enjoyed doing it. And the actual patterns and the piece is quite simple. I just enjoyed looking at the designs of the fabric and thinking about William. I'm a little bit of a fan, if you haven't guessed. There's a heap of William Morris inspired bags coming out, I noticed, in my local craft shop. Well, it's not really my local craft shop, it's at Harvey Bay. And I'm up there quite regularly, so whenever I can get a chance, I duck in, and that's where I got the actual fabric from in the beginning. I spotted a heap of William Morris like makeup bags, storage bags, whatever you wanted to use them for, I guess. And of course that shop just spins me out. I love it. And in the process of buying fabrics and looking and touching and looking and more looking, I forgot all about them. And I've only really just thought of them now. So I've dodged out the shop, come back to Brisbane, having not got the bags, or even at least peruse them a second time. Doesn't matter. Does not matter. Okay, let's get this little tail feather feature cut out. It's very pretty. Oh, you can't even see what I'm doing. My goodness. Sorry, guys. I started slumping in my chair, and when I stoop or slump, I go back in my chair a little bit, which then pulls my hands back. It's not a good start to the day. Feeling like I need to slump. Once I have my coffee, I'm sure I'll be fine. Okay. Now he's not going to look like a true peacock because we just don't have those fabrics in those colours. But that's all right. We'll see how we go. Something will come together. Okay, that's a fiddly little... It's going to be a joy to sew, isn't it? I might leave them all actually attached because I can see them going everywhere, and I might cut them out in the order I know I need them, and then I can put them straight onto the fabric. Otherwise I'm going to have them everywhere and spend too much time figuring out which was the next one. Okay, let's get this little guy. Another one that's going to be just lovely to stitch. All right. Now, let's have a look at the picture and see what we're going to need to do first. So let's put some of these little tail feathery bits to one side. So I got room to wriggle. Now, bring our piece back into position. I'll just get a bit of an idea of where his bottom's going to sit, because he's got feathers that need room. I don't want to be in a binding. So I think his little tush is going to sit about there, which would be pretty good, I think. So the closer to that branch, the better. So let's find some fabric for him. Let's try and get a few blues into him so at least he's sort of looks like a peacock. pins, I'll just pin that so that it doesn't wriggle too much on me as I cut out that. Now hang on a minute, that's going to be backwards. So I need to cut him out as I see him. Gee, that was nearly a mistake. Just seeing what I want on his body. Oh yeah, that's pretty. And I get a bit of the blue. Let's pin that onto there. Okay, and we'll do a rough cut out. Now I'm thinking his wing could be a mustard colour. Let's have a look. Let's have a look at that. So his little wing was this piece. My camera must be a little bit out of whack. I don't really feel like I've ever leant in like this. I'm just going to tilt it back towards me, guys. So I feel like I'm overstretching. That feels a bit better. So now I can work there. There, that's better. I'll just rough cut that. Might cut them out now. I was talking to Susanna from Vintage Blend Studios about my attempt to do needle turn applique. Oh, there's a few names for it, but yeah, my fail at it. And she's actually going to do a series or some videos on it in the new year. So it'd be interesting to see some of the techniques she applies. Not that I'm going to have a go. Let me tell you that my eyesight's just not up for it. Just not going to happen. But I do so love it. So if anyone is interested in mastering it, keep an eye open on Susanna's channel because she's very good at the technical side of hand sewing. So if anyone's going to teach us a trick or two, it's Susanna. I think you guys have just watched video 3 where I attempt it and then unpick it. So glad I did. So glad I did. Really happy with the way this has come together. And I think because there's a camphor stitch underneath, that what I did with the more primitive stitching on top for the birds is just perfect. It just looks like it's meant to be. Then I didn't shape that. Goodness me. The other thing I've noticed is the selvage has creeped up into the bottom of that bird. No, that's all right. So he's going to sit there, I think. And the leaves from that tree that he's on are going to be more up through here. So let's put his little wing in position. Just need to curve that a little bit. It's a bit dog-eared or dog-chewed. Yeah, That's going to be good. I like that. So those two pieces are done. Let me just pull this down a fraction. Now, we need to probably do his plumage. Now, we're going to need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 fabrics. So let's put a bit of thought into this. What 6 fabrics do we have that just complement and could potentially be these feathers? So 1, we've used that guy. Maybe alternate them and stay in the yellows. We've used that one and that one. So they're all double ups. We've got a stripe. We've got that. One, two, three, four, 5. Maybe we slide that into there. There we go. Yeah, I'm happy with that. I just bring the spot into here, and then that, and then that. I can get rid of that green, that one. So they can all go for now. So that's his plumage. All right. So let's begin with the bottom one. Now, if I remember rightly, I didn't write the number on the bottom one. So that one's going to come in here. Looks like I got my numbers wrong too. Oh man, I tell you, did I? 5. So no, that's all right. So 6 of them. So that's number 5, number 4, and so on. Okay, so we might do this one first and pull out this guy. We might pin it on there. Cut it out, rough cut it out. Oh, I could do this all day. Find an image and then break it down into components, and I've done that upside down. Got to keep my wits about me. I don't think I can use that piece of fabric. Oh, yes, I can. Yes, I can. Just. So you got to keep my wits about me. I'm bloomin' start chatting and I get it wrong. So let's cut that guy out. So you've pretty much got to cut the fabric out the way you want to see it on the panel. So that means your pattern piece just sits straight on top of the beautiful artwork of your fabric. I, for some reason, want to flip them over to the reverse side, which doesn't work. Now my feathers are getting a fraction bigger as I cut this out, but I'm not too worried. We'll just adjust him to suit. He might be more of a plump peacock than first anticipated, but that's fine. Let's put that template away now. And that is going to slide on top of his body, but under his wing, like so. Okay, we can put this piece of fabric away. So let's fold it. Let's try to be good. This little guy. So he's a very blue and yellow peacock. I'm happy with that. That's not too odd for a peacock's colouring. So that's good. I think that's worked out quite well. We have quite a few fabrics, but a few of them are double ups, and I saw a heap more fabric in the shop. This was a pack I bought, but they had the bolts of fabric there that you can just buy by the meter. And I went up to the wall of them and I thought, oh, I could bring some more fabric into the project. But I ended up not. I don't know, I sort of felt like I had enough. And even though there's some fabrics here that are not technically William Morris, it doesn't seem to be worrying me. I'm sort of loving it anyway. And I'm using some scraps from old projects, so it's sort of kind of nice to be looking at this and spotting a fabric that is from a previous project. A bit of reminiscing going on. Okay. It's his little tail feather, so we can get rid of this one. That's done. Let's nibble a piece out of here. Have I not taken any out of this one before? Must not have. So let's do number 4. So I could have gone crazy and bought probably another 6 fabrics. But enough's enough, isn't it? Let's put a pin in that. I can feel it slipping. So I didn't. I actually spent my money this time on Christmas fabrics. And I bought fabrics that have words in them or pictures for Christmas. I had an idea, which when I finish this video, I'm going to probably film the idea. I won't say anything yet, so as you trundle through the month of October and into November, up pops the start of Christmas for me, which I'm going to start today. So I hope it works out, because I think it's going to be a lot of fun to actually make. So that looks like that could be the position for that feather. Can't wait to embroider over the top of these elements. It's going to be very, very fun. Okay, so what are we up to? Number 4, this little guy. Let's pin him. Concentrating. Trying to make these feathers look rounded and not jagged. Okay, this little guy is going to come. What have I done wrong? So what's this guy? I got my numbers around the wrong way. How is this possible? Something's not quite right in the centre here. Why are you looking so odd? So he's definitely there, but this 5, which is this one, oh, that's right. I cut the same piece out twice? I have. Oh, far out. So that's why. So you number the pieces to make it simple for yourself. And then you cut them out twice, just to confuse yourself. So that's correct. This one should have been this one. See, there's the shape we need at the top. I bet you were all watching that going, Corrine, stop, you got the wrong piece. And I thought numbering them would make it really simple. But no, it hasn't. All right, quick little trim. I hope I've figured this out right. Quick little adjustment, just needs that. Taken off there. Okay, so let's have another go at this, because the feathers get quite straight up his back to allow for that feather to go in front of all of these. That's better. Oh, goodness me. It's not difficult, but I'm making it difficult. Okay, let's tidy up the mess here. Maybe that's half my problem. So we've done all those. Now, next one. Slight hiccup, but it's all good. It's only fabric, can easily be trimmed. Let me tell you a story about Bandit. Bandit, the perfect pooch, was what we thought, has now really decided to start chewing things. And yes, we know he's chewed a bit of furniture in his time, but not a lot. Pepper, a lot. She was the worst dog I've ever had for chewing. Well, it looks like Pepper is getting a little bit older, and she's a little bit sick of Bandit chewing her, annoying her, playing rough because he's getting bigger. And it appears that Pepper has decided, I've got that piece upside down, bloomin' hell. Cut another one. So yeah, anyway, ignore that. I'm going to cut another one. I'm all over the place today. I'm a hot mess. It's because of Bandit. Let's blame Bandit. Yesterday, I'm sitting there having my morning coffee and I'm on the laptop doing work, and next minute power goes out. So now if the power goes out here at this house, it's a bit of a problem because the server that all the registers for the shops dial into and connect to is in our home. So I thought, oh goodness, it was about 6:30 in the morning. So we had a few hours before the shops were wanting to, fire up their registers for the day and need that server. So after a little bit of investigation and waking up my husband, we realised that the power had gone out on one side of the house. Only one side, so one circuit, and one circuit had tripped in the switchboard. So it was a bit of a mystery. So we started process of elimination, going down that side of the house and turning off everything that was plugged in. So we started with the room that we have the computer in for the shops, and we bypassed it into another room, which was working. So I got a power cord running across my hallway into my bedroom to connect the server into. So that was all good. Then we went from there into the lounge room, unplugged laptops, any of the electrical appliances to watch a movie. I don't know what they're called, projector thing and you know, all that stuff, all the boy stuff. Then started going through the spare bedrooms, and all that's in those is pretty much a lamp. If we get a guest, a bit of a lamp. So after doing all that, we still had no power. And I went out to the outside of the house, and my husband went to the pedestrian gate. That's the little gate that people would walk through other than the driveway. And the one driveway gate was still working. It's an electric gate. See, it was working. And the little pedestrian gate, it has power to it to release the lock if you're inside the house. But it hasn't worked for a little while because we got ants into it and they built a little nest and made a hang of a mess. So we really do need to replace all that, and we just haven't got around to it. So it shouldn't have been that. But anyway, my husband pulled the box apart, had a look, and it wasn't that. So I wandered down to the exterior of the house, down that side, to the hot water system. Sure enough, here we go. We've got the insulation that is around the hot water system to make the pipes stay cool or warm was all chewed off and destroyed. And I looked at the power cord and it looked okay, but there was a small little cord that, I don't know what it does. It's probably for a sensor. It had been severed. So I thought, well, that's possibly it. And I thought I turned it off at the wall. I know I did. I turned it off and then I walked back up the front of the house into the garage and tried turning on that switch which had triggered in the switchboard. And it didn't work. And I thought, well, maybe the hot water system's okay. So I then walked back down there and I turned the hot water system back on. So we then spent the next 3 hours easily walking around trying to work out what had triggered it. Ovens work, toaster works, kitchen works, my craft room works. So we could not find anything left that could have triggered it. So we had to get going. We had to get in the car and go to work. So we're driving off thinking, what possibly could it be? No idea. So long story short is we come back from work thinking, well, we're going to have to sort out this. So they need to curve in a little bit more to meet this feather. So that's going to be my anchoring point. So I need to now find some fabric for this feather. And I don't want to use what I've already used. So where was I? So we get home and we're like, well, we need to sort this out because we need to get hot water and we need power and all of that. So I went back down. We started again, going methodically through the whole house looking for what possibly it could have been. Nothing. So I'm back down at the hot water system and this time I pulled the cord out because I was standing there looking at it going, I'm sure I switched it off, walked up, tested it, eliminated it, walked back down, turned it back on. And I'm looking at this power cord and this time I noticed that there's a chomp on it. It's been severed. The exterior of the cord itself has been compromised. I can see wires. It's one of that dog's not dead. And of course I walk back up to the switchboard. Now this is 8 hours after this power went out. And walked up to the switchboard. By this time my husband's like beside himself thinking, what could it be? We've eliminated everything. It has to be something. And of course, hence why we're starting again. And the toggle on the switchboard, click, straight on. No problems. I'm like, oh, it's the hot water system. But I'm positive I checked that properly. Maybe I didn't, probably didn't. So most frustrating. So now we've got power back on, so everything's okay, but I have no hot water system. So Mr. Bandit is very much in the bad books. And now that it's the weekend, getting an electrician to fix it is going to be a challenge. Now, luckily, you're thinking, oh no, Corrine's having cold showers. Luckily, we have 2 hot water systems. Our house is narrow and long, and when we built it, the builder advised that if the hot water system is at the side of the house, because there was nowhere in the middle of the house to put it, because the middle of the house is the front door and all very decorative, and the middle of the house at the back is the patio. So the sides of the property, being it's a big rectangle, is the best spot. So luckily, we put 2 on. So the hot water system that we use is up the one end near our bedroom, and it also services the sink, the kitchen. The hot water system that Mr. Bandit has destroyed, it is down the other end, and all it does is service the laundry and the guest bathroom, or the main bathroom. So it just means we can't have any guests unless they want to have a cold shower. Thanks to you-know-who, Mr. Bandit. So yeah, there's my story for the day. Bad boy Bandit has struck again. Do I do another blue feather, or do I bring in another colour? I'm going to cut it out of a colour. Oh, it's so good to use these scraps. So yeah, Bandit, Bandit, Bandit. We're not going to talk about the lights that go into the pool. There's like these little junction boxes on the side of the house, and the power and the wiring all comes to that point. And then there's these 3 black boxes. I don't fully understand what they are, but anyway, to get into those 3 black boxes is some wiring coming from the brickwork into them. And it controls the lights in the pool, and it also, I believe, takes power down to the filtration system for the pool, I think. So over the last few weeks, he has nibbled all of those wires. Now, not too much of a problem. Just means that we need to get them fixed when we've got a dog with a brain. We'll get them fixed so that, you know, he's only going to chew them again. But the hot water system, so I've put all these barricades around the hot water system. It looks like a shanty town down there, to sort of protect it a little bit. And I honestly think it's because he's getting quite big now, because he's a boy. He's bigger than Pepper, and he's still growing, and he's very rambunctious and jumping, and oh, life is just great in Bandit world. And she plays pretty heavy and hard, but every so often we hear a bit of a dust up where she's giving him what for. So I suspect that bad boy Bandit is probably getting the odd bollocking from Pepper if to say, settle down, I've had enough, because he's being a bit rough or something. So I'll just pull that down so you can see a little bit better. So I suspect that that's what's happening, and she's sort of thinking, oh, you're being a bit crazy. Tone it down, son. And I've also noticed that Pepper is walking away after a few hours of this rough play and just having a nap, just laying down, and he will too. But then he's up pretty quick, and she's laying out on her side, and she's relaxed and soaking up the sun rays, you know. Lucky, beautiful girl she is. Lucky as in the house she's landed in, the Corrine house. So I have a feeling that he then wakes up from their little nap. He gets a little bored and then goes looking for trouble. So yeah, I'd say we're in for some fun times. While we were away on the weekend, he managed to sever the power to the pump that controls the freshwater tank that's on the big shed at the back of the property. So he's got around the back of the shed to where this pump is and the tank, and he severed the power cord to that. So Pepper may have eaten furniture, outdoor furniture, if you recall some of the Pepper stories. But Bandit's eating electrical, which is going to be a very expensive. And he's my husband's favourite dog too. Lucky for him, that's all I'll say. Because if it was Pepper, who is really my doggy, she's pretty much attached to me, she'd be in a lot of trouble. But it's the favourite boy who can do no wrong, which is amusing in itself. Let me just move that little feather over. I sort of want that swoosh feel there. Get these all pinned down. That's great. So the next thing I've got to do is cut these little feathers that go around there. Yep. We'll see how we go for time. I might use some of these scraps here. So I'll keep going, and when we come to the end of the video, I'll say goodbye, and you pretty much know what I'll do. I'll keep cutting out these shapes. I'm not even going to use that template because that's just too hard and too fiddly. I'm going to use some art glitter glue to stabilise the fabric pieces like I did last time, where I put a little bead of glue around them and then attach. That's one goes in there. Attach them. That little guy is that little fellow there. Yeah, so that'll hold them in position. Then I'll go through and stitch them all. Let's get a bit of this, which will take me a little bit of time. So when I come back in the next video, actually, I've got a scrap of that one on here that we can use. So yeah, I'll stitch them all down, and then the next video will be all about the embroidery, and we'll get our marker pen and draw in where we're going to do some stitching, just sort of to give me a bit of a plan. Then I'll stitch it and then come back to show you how that went. So that little petal goes there. Gonna try and stay within the colours that we've used, I think. Actually, no, I might alternate between these two. Get a bit of uniformity there. So it's going to be a long week. Mr. Bandit has created numerous tasks for us. So we've sort of got to not only get an electrician to come and fix the unit, but we're going to have to work out how to protect the unit from future attacks. He's so naughty. So get rid of those. We've cut them out. Here's the next one I'll do in yellow. I think by keeping them uniformed, it's going to make it easier for the eye to spot these little elements. I'm just freehand cutting them. I sort of got a feel for the shape I need. Too tricky to get a pin in there. As long as it's got a nice teardrop shape. That one can go there. Next one. My friend who I've discovered due to Facebook, she bought the sibling to Bandit, Bruce. And she is actually a vet. So she's been fun to sort of chat with over the months and weeks as our dogs have sort of grown up. We've been comparing notes, and she's convinced that Bandit is an absolute angel because Bruce, the brother, he has been a nightmare, absolute nightmare. He's so naughty, and he's been a little bit aggressive to kids. Like, she's really been concerned. He is settling down, but he's probably exposed to a lot more stimuli than Bandit was. And some kids were a little bit rough with him, and so that sort of set in his brain that kids could be a problem. So he's just been a little wary. But she seems to have worked through that with him, and he's becoming a good all-rounded dog because he'll do a lot of charity work. He'll be a bit of a feature at charity events. Being that she's a vet, her work is always doing things. So Bruce has got high expectations. Thank goodness Bandit doesn't. I don't know how Bandit would go. So, yeah, and the day that we discovered that the power cords to the pump had gone, I sent her a message and said, the perfect Bandit is not so perfect. And she said, well, Bruce is still in fine form. He has just chewed my purse. He's got a credit card out and annihilated it. He's also got her Medicare card. It's an Australian card that allows you to access some healthcare covers, and without that it becomes a bit tricky. So he's chewed that, and he's got $50 out of her wallet, has chewed that, and he's got her phone case and annihilated that. So Bruce is in big trouble. But I'm still thinking Bandit's won. He's come from behind. He was a late starter to the naughtiness, and he's going straight for electrical. So I think my bad boy Bandit has beaten Bruce. All right, guys, that's pretty much it. I've got the bird into position. I'm happy where he is. The only thing I've got to do is these leaves, which I've got here. So I've got a few minutes. I'll keep going for the hour and cut these out. But then I will say goodbye, and I hope you all have a lovely day. The weather is beautiful here. Absolutely beautiful. There is rain coming, I think, next week, but for today, it's beautiful. So I must get outside and just absorb some sunlight. I get outside and see what other damage there is. Might do will I do them all the same, or will I alternate them? I'll alternate it with another colour. Now I'm going to do all the same. I'm going to do the leaves all the same. So that just looks a little bit different around that peacock. I think that'll look really cute. That's the big guy. I can always add more leaves if they look like they're washed away and not, you know, assisting the design at all. I can always bring in some more. But let's just do okay, let's get this piece. Need 3 more. Okay, so that little one goes up there. And another one. I'll have to do more of this style where we pick a theme and an image and create a collage of fabrics. It's a lot of fun. Don't think there's going to be any beads on this piece. I was thinking about it the other day. It feels too, I don't know if primitive is the word for it, but it feels very, I don't know, organic. And I sort of feel like beads are not that. So I'm thinking I'm not going to put beads on it. And if this becomes a feature piece for a quilt, I'm not going to want beads on it. I can live with buttons, the odd button, but I don't want beads. It's just too hard to care for the quilt if you're worried about beads coming undone. I'd rather use decorative stitches to embellish it. So at this stage, there'll be no beading on this. So they're not in the right spot, but you know, at the end of the day, yeah, I like that. That nearly makes the peacock look a little bit bigger. So there's all my elements used. Mr. Peacock is done. So like I said, it's now using my art glitter glue just as a method of putting a bit of an edge around each piece so it doesn't fray, and gluing it down, just it tacks down just enough so that I can get my hands in there and stitch it. So there you go, there's my peacock. I'll just zoom out a little bit so we can see his position overall. Let me move the template out of the way and the fabric. The pins, and I'll slide that over. So there we go. Oh, beautiful. Oh, I love how it just blends, and the more you look, the more you see. There's the little bird at the top. I better not pull that too much because I'm going to have all my pieces fall off. And then we get to the bottom of the tree. Peacock on the way. Okay, excellent. All right, everyone, you guys have a lovely day, and I hope you get to spend some more time in your craft room. I think I will be able to, and of course, unless Bandit destroys something and I spend half the day looking for a destroyed electrical appliance somewhere. Anyway, we won't hold it against him because he's awfully cute, and it's only the, you know, the baby stage. We're getting there slowly. He'll be 1 next month. Oh, goodness. All right, everyone. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you all in the next video. Bye for now.